Isn't it funny how, do we have any guests? Nobody stands. We have gifts for you, like 10 people. I'm shy, but I'm not that shy. I want the free gift. Thank you for being with us. Glorious Spirit of God, we call to you and your presence, and we give thanks that your presence is in and through us as us, if we remember to stay out of the way. So we ask your Holy Spirit and your presence to descend upon us as it did Jesus the Christ, as it did so many moments of miracles on this planet throughout history. Let your presence, your miraculous presence, descend from the highest heavens into our heart and soul, where we place all that is unlike that holiness, all of our stuff, grievances, unhealed wounds, judgments, resentments. We place these things. You've asked us not to give you our valuables, but to give you that which is valueless. We hand you everything, and you decide what is ready to take. We ask you to give us the courage and the strength to not resist. And onto the altar it goes, and into the heavens it is dispersed. Space being made within our hearts, our place of commitment and trust and joy and celebration. And onto this altar your presence can now descend unimpeded. No blocks, no barriers, no limits in our beliefs. And now in our being, you can celebrate your presence. Through us, you can dance, you can shine, you can sing. Show us how to let go and let God. Show us how to let the Divine Mother move and dance through us in every smile and every word, so we can share this and shine this upon one another. Then it's reflected back to us as thank yous from the heavens. And so it is.
Please join me in reading our mission statement, which you will find on the white sheet in the seat backs in front of you. And together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading for today. From Saint Teresa of Avila. It is love and love alone that gives worth to all things. Let nothing disturb you. Let nothing frighten you. Those who have God lack nothing, for God alone suffices. You offer the deepest reverence by asking great things of your Creator. It is the most grateful and faithful of hearts that remain open to God's attentive nature. Know the power obedience has of making things easy, which seem impossible. To have courage for whatever comes in life, everything lies in that. Accustom yourself to continually make many acts of love, for they enkindle and melt the soul. Even the smallest thing, when done for the love of God, is priceless. And so it is.
So let's please share what you'd like to learn today, to share today. Any requests? If the hologram isn't real, what is? Anybody else?
The tree of life.
Pardon? Okay, that's good. Thank you. Only because you're suffering, I'll include you. What was the other one over here?
The tree of life.
We got that one. There was another one.
Winter solstice.
Solstice, yeah, thank you. Ring out the bells. There was another one over here. I've never been to Rhode Island, but okay. You know, it's really an honor to do what we do here, and it's an honor to share the things we share here. Clearly, there's something that's just magnificent that happens in our services, the types of people that attend and so on. And I think I said this last week, but I really appreciate that we can go very deep places spiritually, but that we don't ignore healing. Remember, I think it was last week we talked about the healing path and the spiritual path. And it was great, the feedback from people. Oh, that's right, I forgot about one or the other of those, and how important they are to blend together. That's why you can't go to the average, even New Thought church and say, can you talk about suffering today? Usually they don't even take requests. Most ministers think of a topic and then they rehearse it that week before coming out and doing. And to me, that's, I think that's great, But to me, that would feel like a speech. So that's not my thing. And so to be able to say something like, let's talk about suffering and solstice in the same talk, or let's talk about the hologram and, firmament, and look at the things that you're asking. Always tying things together the best we can in the given amount of time. And it's really interesting because the work we do here, it isn't a Sunday service. And it isn't one person. There's a consciousness. It's the presence of God in man. Ernest Holmes once said, Christ is the name of God in man. So we can also use the I am presence, right? That's the name of God, I am, in us, the I am presence. The Christ in us. So that's true. It's Christ is the name of God in us. That doesn't mean everybody's awakened the Christ in us. And when I say Christ or I am, that's the name of God in us, but that doesn't mean you can throw any other term, the inner Gandhi. No, Gandhi was just wise in some ways, not the inner Michael Mirdad. No, you don't just throw any other name. I am seems sacred enough to say that's the name of God in man. Christ is the name of God. Don't put any other words in though. Be careful. Honor the other teachers. Honor the other everythings. I think it's great to honor. I think it's great that you hire an electrician to work on your house instead of you. I actually think that's a good decision. And honor them, pay them. They deserve it as an electrician or a plumber, professionals. Spiritual teachers as well. Honor them. Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, respect them, don't worship them, don't be in awe of anything but God itself. So teachers don't need to be gurus. They don't need to be, held in awe. But respect. And mothers, fathers, whatever else in this world, a role that we play deserves respect. But that doesn't mean that every wise teacher was Christed. No, there's been people that were awakened even before Jesus. But that's awake. That's different. Awake means I'm on to this world and I know that it's an illusion, as you were asking, one of the questions. The hologram isn't real. So that's, now you're hearing that and go, hologram. Oh, that's right. And it's an illusion. That's right. Once upon a time, that was major revelation. And that person was called awake. Buddha, are you the coming Christ? He said, no. And yet people go, there's Jesus and then there's Buddha. No, Jesus was the Christ. Buddha was awake. As he said that. No, I'm just awake. And that's good. I feel pretty awake. I like that. Am I Christed? No. Christy? Yeah. I'm a little Christy. That's how I feel about it. That's not arrogant. It's just like, I'm not Christ. I'm just Christ, kind of, a little Christy, That's how I feel. So You and I, he told us, what I've attained, you're going to attain it. It's who we are. God didn't create us to be the child of God, known as the Christ, or the I am, to become something else. What we did was we forgot that divinity, came into the earth plane. Now we seem like we're on a journey. Remember, it's not unlike a child. Do you know before a child was born, it lived before? Do you agree generally? Guess what? It knew how to walk before. But after it goes through the veil of illusion to the other side, comes back in, it has to learn to walk again. That's just like us. We were the Christ. We fell, except instead of just lifetime after lifetime, it's all the lifetimes are on this side of the veil. Our knowing is on this side of the veil. We forgot how to walk. So we're remembering how to be the Christ again. However, during our lifetimes, we really play small. So we don't want to completely remember that we're the Christ. We just kind of pretend to improve upon ourselves a little. But then when you throw in, you came in and you worked on yourself, congratulations. Notice when you get to the other side, there's angels going, nice job. But they're going, funny thing. You worked on 5 out of your 10 major issues. For all intents and purposes, you just need one more lifetime with 5 issues, you're good. Except while you were there, you picked up 10 more. Oh, this is depressing. Yes, it is. That's why people have to sleep at night. They're exhausted. That's why they have to go in between lifetimes and, sit in the corner and get the shoulder rubs and, spit in the can like a boxer and get ready, going back in, man. Yeah, except you're not going in. How many rounds are left, too? Oh, we forgot. You picked up karmically 5 more rounds. So you got to go in for 7 now instead of 2. Oh, it's exhausting. And you can run, but you can't hide. You can try, but like Buddha says, it's irresistible. Your desire to clear the air, to work on yourself and remember who you are is an irresistible desire. It's not a human desire. It's a soul level. I absolutely want this more than anything. The ego, on the other hand, is hearing that call and unplugging it even as you say it. Snipping those wires. It's like this ultimate mind virus, the ego, that keeps sabotaging all your files, that say, I'm totally committed to getting home. And you're like, oh, wait, I'm going to start another lifetime. Let me find that file. And it can't find it because the ego puts these viruses in everything. Amnesia, forgetting that there's people you've come in and agreed to work on certain things so that you can feel like a victim. I mean, it's true. If you can feel like a victim, then you're not in a powerful place to switch from wounded to healthy. Because if you're a victim, it sets you further from the healthy space. So you have healthy, and then you have broken. Broken can go to healthy. But if you're a victim, it puts more room between these two. Because you're not just unhealthy, healthy. You're unhealthy, but it's everyone else's fault. And it just pads in right here all these names and identifications of people you now have to work on. Instead of just, I was broken and now I'm awake. I was broken and it's everybody's fault. Now you've got all this healing to do instead of just from here to here. I'm not saying that's bad. This is the condition that we've created. We don't believe we can just go home, just remember. So it's not bad that we name names. It's not bad that we have hurts at all. It's just that it's time to say, I'm committing to healing these things. I tell people consistently, for a while, tell the names, name the deeds for a while. But you can make your own commitment. You can sort of create your own treatment routine, your own prescription. I'm going to give myself, let's see, it's the end of the year. Let's pretend it's a few months before the end of the year. I'm going to give myself a few months to cut loose. I'm going to get a journal. I better get 2 because I have lots of people I hate. So I'm going to get 2 journals and I'm going to put the names in everything they've ever done, everybody. I mean, it's just going to be like a black journal, like just dark, images of everybody that ever hurt me, wounded me in any way. Get it out of your system. Then, coming the new year or whatever day you decide it to be, when comes the new year, I'm going to never talk about them individually again. I'm going to get it out of my system. Then, come the new year, I'll only talk about patterns, not people. Instead of, what Joe did to me, it's going to be, I have felt rejected. Not Joe, Mom, Uncle Sam, rejection. Start, I have felt rejected. And trust me, you can go to a counselor and you can say, yes, I've definitely felt rejected before. I've been thrown under the bus by girlfriends before. If they need names, you can say, well, sure, I'll go back and give you names, but I'm actually over here. I'm not back here. I'll do that for a week or two with you, counselor. But after that, I'd like you to help me get back to the patterns. Is that making sense? Once you name names and now you're into patterns, you're halfway home. Next, it's whose patterns are they? Mine. So now I shift into not, I've had patterns of this, it's I have felt like I was unloved, undeserving. Now I'm talking about me. See, make progress, insist on it. Even when you talk about spiritual ideals and forgiveness, it's easy to get lost again because I could pretend that I'm spiritual. How do I know? Because remember, just 2 weeks ago, I was talking about somebody who hurt me and I cried and my counselor said, it's okay, we'll work through it. And I feel like I'm okay, but then I do well for a while, but then a year later, I have the same conversation with somebody else. I'm saying you can easily conceal being the same without progress while you're still holding resentments. We can insist that we make progress. We can. Only us. There aren't your people that have hurt you that are going to all do an intervention. You go home and every person that ever hurt you is in your living room. First, we want you to know we love you. And now we want you to know that, you've been using our names for a long time and we all want to cut loose from that and we want to say we're sorry and let you move forward with your life. That's not going to happen. They're invested. They've got their stuff and you've got everybody's afraid of moving forward. Somebody's got to make a decision. It's that I am in me, that I am Christ. The Christ self gives me the strength. Get on the cross and be done. Don't stay on the cross. That's a victim and a martyr. But if you need to get on the cross and say, fine, here's my journaling. All of you. I hate all of you down there on the ground who have crucified me. To get it out of your system. Then you have to say, how do I feel being crucified still by all these people? Not great. Not great. What would you like to do? You go to the next step. This isn't going to kill me anymore. I refuse to allow these old memories to crucify me. And there's going to be people in your life, no, we want to still crucify you. No, find somebody else. Name other family members and, hey, who's a good victim? Aunt Flo, or Aunt Joyce or Uncle Bill or, give them to somebody that wants to be a victim. But you just say, I'm, gone to lunch. Like I'm just not here for that anymore. So we forget, we are the tree, we are the Kabbalistic tree of life. Everything is right here. God is right here. The kingdom of heaven is within us, Jesus himself said. But so is the ego that birthed in my heart that used to be a pure Edenic place. The ego, the serpent, took root, as it were, as this tree of knowledge of good and evil, which means I don't need God's guidance. That's what the tree means. I got things figured out on my own. I know who hurt me. I know how long I'm going to keep them held captive. You see? That's where the birth of the ego and the serpent took place. The serpent that's self-will or willfulness. I refuse to be at peace anymore. I'm mad. I'm angry. I'm hurt. And I want to add, and then the ego infiltrates because this energy flows down into our material life from the highest heaven into the material universe and into our lives, root chakra. Okay? But as this is happening, it gets infiltrated. Instead of this perfect flow of God from the I am to the I am, I become I am not. My I am not is I'm wounded. I would be great if only. So the ego I am not has completely different statements from I am. Who are you, God? What do we call you? I am. I am that I am. Bliss is another word for it. I am bliss. That's excellent. So you can sit cross-legged, finger, mudras, hand mudras, chanting your heart out, And you could just go, that feels glorious. That's because, like Moses, you went up the mountain and you communed with God. And when Moses communed with God and was given 2 tablets, those are the right and left hemispheres of the brain. The burning bush is your hair. So when the light of God illuminates, he's describing that his own head up the mountain within himself. I'm not saying he didn't literally walk up a mountain. I'm saying, more importantly, it's a metaphor of him going through himself. So the tree of life that needs to come to life again, once upon a time it was alive, then it became the tree of knowledge, and it became all dark inside. Now I have shames and all these weird belief systems, but I'm ready to be done with that. I'm ready to be a Christmas tree with all the bulbs lit. I'm ready to be alive. And it's that concept, I was dead, but now I'm alive. I was lost, but now I'm found. Those scriptural references, that's what it's about. And I know it hurts. I personally feel that boys and girls, men and women, and anything in between, call it whatever you want, human beings have been hurt. They've been brought into erroneous belief systems to be something they don't want to be. I want to be a florist, but my parents were accountants, 4th generation accountants, and they won't let me without shaming the heck out of me. You know what I mean by that? So it's like these programs, and I think a lot of gals have taken on wounds, sometimes at the expense of themselves. Males have done things that have been very selfish. I'm not blaming males per se forever. I'm just saying that's kind of a pattern that we've gone through. And it's like, wow, I'm sorry, please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to join together to release this. Now, I could say that to a woman, or we as an archetype of males could say that to women and everything in between. But those other people that are being apologized to, they could actually say, no, I want to keep this. I want to keep my limits. I know we played the role, the guys or whomever, played the role of putting them into sort of, sometimes we've humiliated females or children, put them in a state of shame or humiliation. We can say, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, etc. They can actually consciously or subconsciously reject that. Why would they do that? Because that's part of their belief system. They want to keep the wound alive. You can only apologize your part. It's up to them to say, I got it, but I have to admit, I'm kind of scared of letting go of that. What if a man, I'm just using stereotypes for a sec. What if a man is the breadwinner and she's raising the kids get old enough and they move on, now she's got to do something else. What's going to happen if she owns that she is as skilled as any other human being and ready to launch into a new life? Do you want to stay, oh no, I want to stay on the cross and stay crucified. I want to stay in the darkness. No, die of your old self. Let the mommy who raised the kids, let her die today. Because if you don't, you're going to end up dying anyway and having to reincarnate to figure out how to come to life. So why not just do it now? Well, but my kids, your kids are now adults. They're 40. Come on. At some point, where are you? We hide behind the kids that need us. We hide behind all kinds of patterns. So this is sometimes called there's different terms for it, different kind of cultures and religions and so on. But this is the dark night of the soul, and you get to the light at the end of the tunnel. That's where we got to go. I'm ready to live in the light. I'm ready to dance in the light of God. I'm ready to, and then we still go back at times and sift through finding little snags in the hair. You comb out the knots and so on. That's us evolving, but it's just for now. We're evolving just while we think we're unevolved, which means where we hold judgments, that's where the unevolved, if you don't have judgments, then you don't have to evolve, you're home. So another wording for getting home, awakening, is really combing out the judgments. And the judgments include patterns that we hold. So I want to switch to a word called archetypes. So this is the difference between, let's say, role models versus archetypes. way down here on earth, we have role models. This is where little people live, little minds. Oh, I want to be like my dad. Is that as good as you get? Really? There's God and you want to be like dad. Or I want to be like my basketball mentor. I want to be like my coach. I want to be like my whatever. You see, those are nice, but is that as much as you believe in? Because I'm saying, we have a consciousness, a soul. We have a human personality. When all you do is say, I have role models that are other human personalities, do you see how small that is? Do you? My human personality wants to be just like their human personality. That's, it's kind of weird, but people do it all the time. Oh, I want to be just like that athlete. I want to be just like that musician. And it's a little strange, but it's what we have. At least somebody's going, wow, that's kind of cool. I want to be able to be like that. It's small, but it's something. Do you know that there are people who say, I could never? That's even worse. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's role models, those who I can't live up to, those who I'm trying to live up to. I'm so sorry if that's the highest you got. Because behind that, you go a little higher and you start to realize more collectively stereotypes, you could use that term. It doesn't completely, it's exclusively fit here, but to a degree. So I'm going to be like good men, not that guy, good men. I want to be like men who do this or women who do that. Now you're not just individualizing, but you're like I want to be a stereotype. That's still not very evolved, is it? Then you're going to eventually evolve to what's called archetypes. Archetypes are like gods, goddesses, heroes. I'm ready to be the hero in this story where I achieve and I reach the light at the Perseus, right? Any male or female or anything in between, even androgynous beings, hermaphrodites, whatever the case may be in Greek mythology, I'm ready to be like this archetype. So now it's a pyramid. The sleeping people that don't think they can even achieve a role model level, and then they can achieve, goes up a notch. Then there's stereotypes or groups that I'd like to achieve a little more like that, but then there's archetypes. When you get to archetypes, there's still many. The pyramid's getting narrower, but you're here in the middle somewhere. And you're starting to say, I want to live like a goddess. I want to be the goddess of creativity. That's an artist. Now watch. I can be an artist at the bottom of the pyramid going either, oh, I could never be very good as an artist, or I want to be like my art teacher. Do you see that level of role model? Now you go up a little higher, starving artist, stereotype. Yes, I'm an artist, but I can't even afford brushes because I'm so painful to be me. Stereotype. By the time you reach archetypes, wow, I can access my inner Da Vinci. I can access my inner, you see what's happening? You're getting into bigger names, but it isn't just Da Vinci. But it sort of is, because he's a man, he's a person. You'll get bigger into the Da Vinci archetype. I want to have the brilliance. So you're starting to access not Da Vinci, you go higher and it's the archetype, the brilliance. Archimedes, Da Vinci, Merlin. You see, I want the magical access, I'm looking for that access to that consciousness, the inner, whatever it happens to be. You might still go, oh, wow, look at this person in mythology or this person in history. But you're going into accessing that yourself. And the highest you can get at this point is gods and goddesses. There are archetypes, literally, guys, literally out there surrounding our planet, surrounding through the universe. There are archetypes, meaning collective consciousness of Odin and Rata. See, people we called mythological gods and goddesses, those are actually archetypes out there in the ethers. In a way, Aries, Taurus, in a way, the signs of the zodiac are archetypes, right? But you evolve from being born and being a typical whatever, a typical Scorpio, typical Sag, typical Capricorn. But that's not where you're supposed to be left. You're supposed to go the next level. Okay, okay, I'm going to, Sag. Everybody's born in the lower half of their astrological sign. So Sag, for example, is a horse. Is that? No. But Sag has its lower. Scorpio has its lower. Pisces has its lower. Then, as you evolve, guys, whatever sign you are, I hope by now you evolved to the second level, the higher aspects of your sign. Would most of you say you did? If you haven't, look it up. Lower and higher aspects of your sign and do a checklist. No. Those are things for your homework. If you can't reach the higher aspects of your sign, you're not going anywhere else. So get that knocked off. Now, let's say you went home and did it, and within a week, a month, a year, you feel like, oh my God, just that one sentence in that talk, I went from lower aspects of my sign to the higher aspects. Nice. The next piece of homework is, how do you now embrace all of them, all the signs of the zodiac? There is no sign you are not. It can be afflicted, it can be lusciously alive in you, but they're all there. And if there's somebody says, I don't have any water in my chart, well, start believing that there is. You are the powerful one. You are the dreamer of the dream. You start imagining. Well, I don't have any air. Oh, I'm so ungrounded, man. I got like 28 planets, and there aren't even that many. I got 28 planets, man, in Libra, and I'm just like, I don't even leave bed. I can't decide. Should I get out of bed today? I don't know. Who's speaking? I'm not sure. 28 planets in Libra. So that could be pretty serious. But you know what? What I would do, if that were me, I'd go, okay, this is out of balance. Is that the stereotypical lower end Libran I want to be? No. Force yourself to sit up. Force yourself to put on the heaviest boots or shoes you have to ground you a little. Put on some dense earth tone clothes, which you probably have to borrow from somebody because you probably don't have a lot of them. And you dense up, then go and eat some beef jerky. Oh, I don't like meat. It makes my chakras spin backwards. I know that's the problem. Good in your body. Carnivorous. Where's your root chakra? Oh, I'm up here. No. And root starts showing up. Find some of that. Grind it up. You don't even have to swallow the beef part. Just play. Drink the juice. It's good because iron is also grounding. Red meat. Red is a grounding color. And people, people that are like this, they're like, I can't do any of those things. But you do. And drumming and things that ground you, working in the earth, get in your body. You can counter those things that are stereotypes. We can't go home to God, to bliss, while we're still struggling with these silly little things. I mean, if you can't get past the lower aspects of your astrological sign, you're a stereotype worked out through a human being who's broken. No more. Just say it. Just agree. Just decide. That's enough. But I don't know exactly where to work. Well, you do. Go look at the signs. Look them up and, oh my God. Yeah, those lower aspects. Many of us that are on the path are going to find a lot of the lower aspects we've already worked through, right? Yeah, we've already worked through a lot of that. Find which ones you haven't. Fine tune them. That's what I would do, man. I would take responsibility and work it through. Now I would start embracing the higher aspects and maybe give myself a year to enjoy the higher aspects. Make sure you implement them. If it says spontaneity, go for it. If it says ungrounded, start grounding a bit better. If it says you don't communicate enough with people around you, start making it a point to communicate. Heal this stuff. We can't go home without getting through this tree of life brought to harmony again. So I'm working those pieces now, higher aspect of this sign, then I get it. This is an archetype where I embrace, I'm the master of all the signs. Yes, I have to work at it at first, but inevitably I become the master of all the signs. So often the depiction of Mother Mary with a crown of 12 stars, it means the master of all the signs of the zodiac, all of the astrological archetypes. She's the queen of the universe. And it isn't just Mother Mary. Mother Mary is an embodiment of the universal mother. So, and the universal mother is the name of the universal version of the divine mother. So we have the divine mother, that's God, which is really beyond an archetype, but it's the divine mother, that's God. When she comes into the universe, she's an archetype of the divine mother. She's known as Kuan Yin, she's known as Mother Mary later, but it's the divine mother becomes the universal mother, becomes the holy mother, Mother Mary, and whomever else is an embodiment. Every time you and I are kind, every time you and I are compassionate, when you see Kuan Yin, typically where a Mother Mary, you have the crown of stars, that's I'm the queen of the universe. Well, with Kuan Yin, you see her holding a vessel typically, and it's a vessel that holds compassion. Often it's tilted because it's a symbol of I am pouring my compassion upon the universe. Well, who's she? An Asian stereotype? No. She's a symbol of the universal mother, the God, mother of aspect of God, saying, I'm the mother. I am the mother, not the mother of all mothers, the mother of all mankind. And I'm pouring compassion upon the world so that my children can feel loved instead of afraid, free instead of judged. That's beautiful. And yet we steer clear and away from discussion about the mother aspect of God. It's like if I say the mother and Mother Mary, people go, oh, he's kind of Catholic, isn't he? It's weird how the brain goes to, I want to put you in a little box. And if I say Kuan Yin, oh, he's kind of Buddhist. It's just strange because they just don't know where to slot me in. They shouldn't be able to just slot you in because you're this, not this. But you have to accept that you're this. First, you have to own that you've acted like this and start breaking down the barriers. So whatever sign you might be, it's like, that's just not good enough. That's not enough for me. No, man, that's not me. I refuse. There are people, performers, musicians, oh my God, who have said, no, I'm not doing it this way. People that had learning disabilities told you can't get anywhere, and they became the best of something, right? That's somebody that said no. Tony Iommi, great, he's the guy that invented the heavy metal riffs, Black Sabbath's guitarist. Just before he starts his here we go, we're going to launch into our first tour. His last day at work, he got his fingertips cut off. Yeah. I'm pretty sure your fingers are important if you're a guitarist. I mean, call me silly, call me presumptuous, but I think. And what happened? Right? He just got these pieces of leather and glued them around his tips and faked as though he had fingertips. And it actually helped invent the sound of heavy metal. Because of the way how he had to tune the strings and how the way he could manipulate the strings or, embrace the strings here, it created this sound. This famous Ringo Starr, the most famous drummer in history, but he left-handed. And they make drums typically for right-handed players. So he couldn't do a drum roll. His arms would get all twisted. But that became his style, that when he does a roll, it's not da-da-da-da-da-da, it sounds like they call it the falling down stairs drum roll. But it's signature, it's so cool. All these people found a way to make it work. So you can be the sage who people say, the lower half of a sage, that horse is as, You can say yes and laugh at the parts where you acted like, and then go somewhere with it. Take it somewhere. Don't wait till you're born a different sign, because then you're going to be the lower aspects of that sign. And whatever sign I make fun of, it's just fun. It's just silliness. Because all the aspects, there's these lower parts, and they're all ridiculous. Because that's not who we are. But we embrace the higher aspects than the signs, and we're recognizing now archetypes. Oh my God. You can do it just in this talk. Start to go, oh, I get it. Stereotypes, let them go. You can't let the old you, stereotypical you, go while you're still feeding that self. You have to see its valuelessness. One time I remember I was probably 18 to 20, and I was at my mom's house, and I remember she said something and I reacted, and then she, and I started getting into this little drama. But by this time I was already growing spiritually, and I hadn't been over there for a while, weeks or whatever it had been, months. I went over and she went back to the same person she's always been. And I started reacting the same way. But the good news is it looked foreign to me. The bad news is I did it. But I paused and went, this is like someone else doing this reaction. I felt already separated from it, and I saw it, and I just changed it right then. I started giving her the one box stereotype that she had me in, and you will do that sometimes. You will react the way they stuck you in. All men are like this, and then you react that all men are like that, or all women or whomever. Someone has to change it. And if you don't see that you're no longer happy with this, you won't change it. Recognize you're not happy with this and start looking at the beauty of where you want to go. Then you get to the God-goddess archetypes, and you start realizing there's an old book some of you might remember, Goddesses in Every Woman. It was a great book, but it was about the Jungian psychology, where they say there are 7 major male archetypes and 7 major female archetypes. But at the end of the day, really, you're all of them. So you're not just Aphrodite, you're Persephone, you're Athena. Find these parts and let them come forward. You're going to trip over some of them, the old stereotypes, the negatives, and evolve to the higher aspect. So you can access your inner Athena when you need to, and Aphrodite when you need to, because they're all expressions of you. There are archetypes that are, let's say, there's dark archetypes. I mean, literally, there are beings that try to trap people into dark archetypes. The rage, the addict, and, different negative archetypes. You got to break free. So you get to the positive archetypes, and again, the old ones don't work for me, has to happen. The new ones are where I'm going. Now, when you're working your way up that pyramid, there are other archetypes, historic people. For now, there's the inner conqueror. There's the inner, like I said, Da Vinci, the brilliant, or the Merlin. There's an inner King Arthur. There's an inner Guinevere. There's an inner Lancelot, and so on, of that story. But there's also the inner Mary Magdalene, the inner Saint Peter, Paul. All those are archetypes. Mother Mary didn't say, I want to be like my mother. I want to be like my cousin. She said no, she did this. She opened herself up, so all these lower aspects of the pyramid, from here to here to here to here, falling away. What do you want to be, Mary? I'm a servant of God. What would you like me to be? You mean you're asking our opinion? God says. Wow. Mary, because you're so open, no settling. No settling. I'm, a single mom. I'm a divorcee for, 6 times I've been married. And all these negative archetypes or stereotypes, and you live under those. And eventually, no. Your will be done. So God says, well, if it's our will be done, this is great. Takes the Holy Spirit, the Divine Mother, and the Universal Mother, and downloads that into this human being called Mother Mary. She becomes an ascended master. She becomes Christed. She has to be Christed to some degree to hold the body of a Christed being known as Jesus in her body. She has to be able to hold that frequency. So you see what I mean by that? She opened up to the capstone, the top of the pyramid, God. And what I'm saying though is the ultimate archetype is the Christ. It's not the Buddha. Buddha died. Buddha did not resurrect himself. Buddha got sick and died. We know that historically. He woke up to the laws of this world and reincarnation and karma, and he said, what a bunch of garbage, I'm paraphrasing. But he said, this is ridiculous. We buy into this, and then we have to keep coming back and redoing it because we didn't get it. Well, guess what? I get it. And the wheel that's spinning seems to have paused. And he said, now, Pause the wheel that you live under. Your stereotypes, your judgments, your settling, and your littleness, stop. Okay, now what, Buddha? Now just hold still. Because as you hold still, the wheel seems still, but it's still turning. And when it's turning, it's going to spit upon you your old stuff. If you don't react to it, it'll dissipate. And the wheel will become less present. How is this, this quantum universe, how is it, the hologram isn't real, and yet here we are. You're letting the wheel that generates, it's almost like this world is a hologram, but imagine that the hologram is fed. You have to have a generator to pump up the projector to push the images onto the screen. What if I allow the projector to pause or to be unplugged? This wouldn't show. So what he's saying is stop reacting. You're unplugging. I used to call it a fan. The fan is blowing. And I tell people, here's how you unplug the fan. And I gave examples. Unplug the fan. And in life, what we do is, nope, I can still feel the wind blowing because it takes time for the blades to slow down and stop. But what humans do is, I'm ready, man, to unplug from this world. I'm ready to ascend. Okay, unplug the fan. Nope, I still feel the wheel. Now you're karmically up creek because you just judged that it didn't work. You just judged that you failed when you unplugged the fan. Is that making sense? You unplugged it, but you still felt it. Well, that's what Buddha was saying in a sense. You got to hold still, and you're still going to have stuff coming your way. Some people threw rocks at him, and his apostles, his disciples, were saying, Buddha, if you're awake and you're so compassionate and generous and loving, so selfless, why are people throwing rocks? He's going, well, that was another lifetime where I also, did this sort of thing, treated certain people a certain way. And you see what I mean? He just took responsibility. Back to where we started. Did he say, well, that's James, he's a rude dude. Yeah, he's never going to, you know how addicts are, right? Did he stereotype him? You know how men are. He's just jealous. He's a family member, siblings. What are you going to do with him? He didn't go. He just said, that was me in another time, and I'm done. And he doesn't react to it. The wheel fades another 1%. So you not only stop reacting to the past, stop putting in motion new things for the future. So that's why he ends up giving commandments, we'll call them, the Buddhist commandments, because what he's saying is refrain from these things because they'll put more stuff in motion. So again, it's two parts. Unplug and let the old burn off. Don't react to it. Secondly, don't start new fans. Don't start new wheels, okay? And then they fade. So I get it. Oh my God, I'm waking up. And it's not just a Gandhi or, oh man, I want to be like that teacher or that singer, that dancer. Christ is where we're going. That's the ultimate archetype. So where Mother Mary allowed to be downloaded, your will, not mine, the divine mother, the universal mother now became her, perfect presence of the mother concept. And the unconditional love of a mother on a human level is manifested with her life with Jesus. But we're all heading to the archetype of the Christ, which is sort of synonymous with that divine mother archetype. But let's just get to this point. Christ, the Christ archetype, it's here. What do we do with it? When you're practicing love and forgiveness, when you start living a life of love and giving, gentleness and compassion, more and more you're calling on that archetype. But your behaviors alone are not enough. Live it, yes. But I'm saying this, ask for it. Ask God, ask the Divine Mother, it's her role to birth it in you. Don't think you should just do it on your own. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to read a book about Christ consciousness and that'll awaken me. Even if you do and you devote to some system along those lines, it's more work than you need to do. The simplest step in awakening Christ consciousness is calling on the Holy Spirit to birth it in you. It's what the Divine Mother is there for. Okay? Rather than us trying to figure it out, let her birth it. No matter what else you do, you can still be drinking and smoking, but calling on her to birth this in you, and it will start changing you. If you can also get your behaviors to lighten up a little bit, sweeten up a little bit, it'll speed the process up. But it is our destiny. We are the presence of God, forgotten. So where do you want to go? Do you want to go to the top of the pyramid? I'm ready to awaken the Christ. Or would you like to go, let me just first continue enjoying the negative aspects of being human? Wow, that's a long journey. And it's horizontal here. When you're living that, you're not automatically being ascended without you knowing it. When you're living horizontally, that's the life you have. And it's just karma and reincarnation and challenges and so on. Struggles, a lack of peace, a lack of unity, a lack of trust. That's this world. Then you start waking up a little. Well, I want to be more like this person, that athlete, and so on. That's just so small, but I think it's better than nothing. And if I were talking to a child and trying to explain archetypes, the top of the pyramid Christ, no, I might start with, well, who do you admire? I've had, in some of the sessions that I've done over all these years, some of them, the darkest ones with some children, some of the darkest children sessions I've done, I didn't start getting into cosmos and whatever. Their parents already did that, and that didn't help. What I did was, who do you like? Who do you like musically? That's what I did. Because that's where they're at. Meet them where they're at, but then offer something better. Not obviously, but covertly. Where are you at? Who do you like? And you got these people, these young people, teens, all in black and piercings everywhere, and, hi, Michael, nice to meet you, and they're just tattooed and like shaved head halfway, but not halfway because they're torn between whether they want to be this or that. So half a mohawk or whatever. And they're just looking like this, and their parents drag them in. Michael, will you straighten them out? I'm like, yes, let's begin with you getting out of the room, because that's where the trouble lies. So get out. Now the kid, who do you like? What do you mean? Well, who do you listen to? And then they'll tell me somebody. And I've done this where it's like, oh, did you know? And I'll give them some history about that person, how they also struggled and found God. Even though they don't look or sound like it, they found God. They're like, really? Yes. Do you remember the song they sang? And I come up with these weird, arbitrary things. Musicians I'd never even heard. They did a song, and isn't there a line in there that says this, that, and the other? Do you know what they were talking about when they wrote that? See, and I give them some background, and they're like, it changes them. See, because I want to be in this darkness, but everybody's judging me. Can I hold this pain I feel and still be permitted to come out? Or do I have to be shut down like my parents do? That's often what happened. I've had moments where I've literally talking to somebody and they're like, oh man, I'd like to change my life. And, the only thing I've ever heard that made sense in it is that there's this one author or there's this one movie I love. And what I've done? Beep, boop, beep, 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 boop. Hi, the actor, the director. Hi, I want you to do it. They already know this is Michael. I know what this is. And I put him on the phone. And the kid would be like, they're idle. And that person talks to them and says, I've been there. I know exactly what it's like. Did you know that I went through this or that? No. And now the kid leaves the room when we're done. Total permission to hurt the way they hurt, but to also see another light a light at the end of the tunnel. It's fantastic. And those people that I've reached out to do things like that, or sometimes I ended up sending, signed CDs or signed albums or signed whatever pictures to the kid later, as a surprise for me saying, nice job with the work we did. But those people, those actors, directors, stars, whatever they are, taking time to do that, that is probably in the top of the good karma for their life. You see? That's what matters. I've said so many times, my God, music or whatever, things when I was an adolescent, I've said a million times, but Earth, Wind, and Fire, man, they were talking to me. I heard them. It's like hope, hope, hope. You know, when all this stuff is terrible in the house, I go in my room, sit in my little corner, and listen to songs of hope. Those writers, musicians of just that band, to name one, that was probably, certainly the number one for me. The good karma, they don't even know it. I've met them and said hi and all that sort of thing, but I didn't give them the speech, oh, you have no idea what your music's done. They've heard that a lot. In here, I feel a lot of gratitude. But then there's people that I know that have said, I like this Michael guy, I like the way he teaches, I like the way he does this and that. But it still gets credited back to them. That means that automatically adds more feathers to their wings to take them higher when they're on the other end, the other side. Your gratitude for me thanks them. But they're not the archetype. They're a image. Christ all the way home. So one reason for the magical things we do here, the great feeling, the vibes, the intuitions to know, what would you like me to cover today? And then just be able to do that. That's because it's not because I'm a teacher down here that can't do it, or one that admires teachers and wishes I could. No, nor do I go up a notch into archetypes. I'm going to be the archetype of a teacher. That's great if I could. I'm going to be the archetype of the greatest teacher, the healer archetype. If I go to the highest of the pyramid, almost to the top, and get the healer archetype, teacher archetype, it means I'm still falling short of this one. I can't. I never ever said, I want to start listening to music. Who's the second best band around? That's not my mind. I never said, I want to, something I want to do, I want to know the 8th best. When I wanted as a kid to study martial arts, I didn't say, I wonder if there's anybody inventing a new style in their garage that I could go study. I wanted the oldest. You see? I always wanted the best. And that's how I feel spiritually. I just can't even imagine going, I want the 8th best something or other. I'm going to learn guitar. Can you tell me who the 10th best guitar teacher is? I mean, that doesn't make sense, does it? But people do it because they don't ask the questions. They don't even tune into what they're really looking for. Go all the way. That's why you won't worship a teacher. You respect them for what they've done. But your archetype, your home game, man, is this one, the top of the pyramid. It's God, also known as Christ, in you. That's where we're going. Got to release the old wounds we've taken on. And we as a center, just briefly stated, we just don't settle. We're the strangest group because we just don't settle. Somebody could come here and say, I'm going to give you $1 million to let me do a workshop here. And we often say, no, the money won't buy it. The space, the subject matter has to be congruent with God or something related. And I mean, people, they throw money at us to rent the space. No, it's okay. Oh, why won't you have us? We don't tell them you're not worthy. We just say, well, the subject matter's not, quite congruent. We say it tactfully, but you got to say no, which you have to do with your partners and your kids. If your kids are harmful, say no. Hey kids, I have an idea. You see that front door of mine? That's the front door of my house. So here's what we're going to do. In this house, peace and love, harmony, happiness. If ever you feel something other than that, you can come over. You and I will sit on the front porch until that's gone. You're not bringing that into my house. You will not vent it on each other. I told my kids when they were, teens, I'd come from out of town and, I'd always take them out to lunch and how are you guys doing? How are things going? And sometimes they would be agitated and picking on each other. I said, I've noticed several times that I've come to have lunch with you guys, you're doing this weird thing with each other, attacking each other. Not allowed. Here's how we're going to do it. I'm going to lunch. You're invited, but you're invited under my rules. Happiness. If you're not happy, don't come. That's what I would do. Oh, some people think that's like cruel. No. You must set the tone. Like somebody has to step up. Who's the conductor of this orchestra? Right? Is it supposed to just everybody go crazy? Everybody, we're going to have a concert. Everybody just play whatever you want. I mean, noise, right? Somebody has to say, how about this key? How about this many bars of this and that. Somebody's got to set the tone. And I'm saying in our lives, we're the ones that have to set the tone. Please stop waiting for other people to set the tone, especially since the ones that you're waiting to set the tone are even one step further into weirdness. This bottom row that's not awake and doesn't know they can even set the tone. They don't know anything about higher archetypes. They just live the humans. You're relying on sleeping humans to give you advice on how to be happier in your own sleep. That's kind of strange. That's like saying, you go to sleep in that bed, I'm going to sleep in this one. While I'm asleep, give me some advice. It just doesn't make sense. They're asleep as well. Find someone who's awake and get some downloads, whether that's music or whatever. But then go higher and go higher. And at some point, no settling. If something doesn't feel like the peace, joy, love of God, I'm not interested. Now, you can go a little too far with that sometimes. You can. I mean, it's easy to go too far. You know, I've gone to go buy some cereal at the grocery store and the vibes were just not quite right. It's their grocery store. What you can do is say, here's the space I want right here. So I can walk through Safeway being in my own little bliss, which I typically would be. Me, I'd kind of look like I'm insane sometimes, But I can't tell your grocery store or remember that one. Don't tell other people how to be in their houses. Just hold space. And what's nice is people, they'll feel it. People feel it and go, there's something about you. I would love that vibe in my life. You see? But somebody has to step up and set the tone. And you're responsible for your tone, for your airspace, for your life. And like I was starting to say here at this center, I've said this many times, but we really do a good job setting a tone. Is it always perfect? No. But it has to be a certain way. If we're not having certain harmonious conversations at some points, we stop having them. And then people will say, we need to have that conversation. I'm going to say, not until that's gone. I won't engage with certain things. We got to bring it to harmony or no. And it lets everybody have their space, get to harmony and come back together. Chaplains, board members, employees, whatever it happens to be. But at this center, we have so many things we do for free, and I like that. But we have a monthly prayer vigil where I sit for 12 hours doing prayers every hour, and it's free. Once a month. Well, do you get paid? No, I don't. But you know what? Yes, I do. Because you can't do once a month prayer vigils all day and not see the effects. So we're doing that. Plus, we're having these free Monday programs on Zoom. You have to be a member of the Friends of Michael Mirdad Facebook group, and then you get into these Zoom programs. And it's free. I think it's a couple dollars to get in the Facebook group, but that's it. The Zoom program's free. And you know what? We did that for years now. I was doing it 5 days a week during the COVID situation, and then gradually cut it down to 1 day a week. And it's been working ever since, for years now. We do another Zoom program a couple times a month, the Daughters of Heaven. That conference, that book, and so on that came to the world, it wouldn't have happened had we not been doing the prayer vigils. It wouldn't have happened had we not done A Course in Miracles a year at times. We've done dedicated to that. It wouldn't happen if we didn't have these sacred services. So this gave room for a Zoom program and a Facebook page, another Zoom program. This gave room for us doing an annual Christ consciousness workshop. You see what I'm saying? That's the tone I set. I really live to keep feeding that energy into this situation. And to see the kinds of posts people make and the comments, I feel like permission to talk to the mother. Nice. I could die now, and I know on the other side, there's a lot of beings going, thank you. Angels that said, you turned people on to believing in angels. Thank you. Mother Mary, Jesus, hope of breaking through wounds of the past. Those are energies that are waiting around us. It's in my Father's house are many mansions. That didn't literally mean mansions, but it's many stages of consciousness, and you've made yours. So have you made a rich territory mansion, so to speak, meaning large house, but it means large consciousness? Don't try to expect to cash in on all of your good karma here. Because if you did, it's now dissipated. It's been done. It's complete. It's okay that some of it doesn't come to you this lifetime. I'm not saying deny the good. I'm just saying it's okay. I know I've done a lot of good. Even if I've made mistakes in this life, it doesn't matter because I know the richness I feel while here, and I also know a lot of richness that awaits me on the other side. So we've done good, but we're seeing the fruits of it. Every good deed, but every good thought, every good word, every good extension to other people, love and kindness, love and kindness. Let me pay that forward to you in the grocery line. Why are you doing that? Because I believe it's love and kindness. See what you feel to say to the person. Sometimes it's great to say to people because you deserve it. I love that one. Love and kindness, they're like, oh, that's nice. When you say you deserve it, they're like, It really, days they might be thinking about that. What did that guy mean? I deserve it, because it really does something. You're planting seeds, always planting seeds. Please take a few centering breaths. This meditation, not like a journey, just soak in these concepts. Ancient people before standard holidays of today, they understood the solstices and equinoxes. It's the Earth Mother that's a reflection of the Universal Mother, that's a reflection of the Divine Mother. It's the Earth Mother's way of saying, children, every so often I'm going to be in a solstice mood, an equinox mood, grid lines activated, chakras on the earth. She's trying to bring us these high moments. But let's open up to receive. Earth Mother, reflection of my Divine Mother, help me to forgive myself for my selfish ways, for my ignorance. Just peel these layers off. Let me learn to live in harmony with the cycles of life. Let the past fall away, preparing me for a greater Christmas. Let Christmas bring me gifts that I can take into the new year, a new life. And let this happen every year. Let this also happen every week. Let me end a week saying goodbye to what didn't go well and give thanks for what did and get prepared to launch into a new week from a higher level. I know this is possible. Show me and guide me. Externally, the bells ringing in the winter solstice. But the bells that are also found at the top of some churches is symbolic. The ringing of the bells, the awakening in my crown, my upper chakras. Let the bells ring. Bring me back to life. Show me my value. There is no separation. Mother Mary has called out this last week, and she's saying to many receptive souls, go and either imagine a mountain or climb upon a mountain or look to a mountaintop. I'm going to appear for a while on many mountaintops. Come to me. Come to me and ask me for help. I'm not just Mother Mary, I'm the Universal and the Divine Mother. Come and commune with me. Like Moses going up the hill to talk to God, come and join me at the top of a hill. The hill symbolic of your higher self, inside and or outside. Come to me. She's literally calling us this week. And there's heavy things predicted for the world. Some are going to happen. But we can counter it with light. Let's accept the light of God. Let's accept the time of year, whether it's Easter or Christmas. Allow the feelings and vibes. People that, for example, at Christmas feel no longer to put up their lights. They're not called anymore to celebrate. They don't exchange gifts. They've lost hope, guys. It's a symbol. And if they've lost hope in Christmas and it's a symbol of Christ Mass, it means people aren't gathering in that belief of Christ anymore. Someone's got to do it. Someone's got to ring the bells of hope. Help us to be your presence, Divine Mother. Help us to be your presence. Show us and guide us. We absolutely are committed to not leaving the children of God in a place of hopelessness or helplessness or despair. We're committed to being the light of God here and now for all people. All people everywhere. Breathe into this for a moment. Just, yes, yes, yes. Feel it. Feel it like an activation from the Holy Spirit of God. Bring my light to my children. Breathe it into yourself with conviction. And once you've breathed that in a couple of times, now look at the world and just your lips, the sound of your heart through your lips to all the world and people that felt hopeless. Send them a tone of hope and celebration, a deep, reverent tone. Keep going for about a minute. Breathe when you need to. Let your lips make the vibration and the sound. Vibrate it down into the earth. Put your hands on the earth or on your chair or on your knees and let it vibrate through your hands, from your heart, through your hands, down into the earth. And the whole earth is vibrating. People that are in war-torn areas are feeling this strange vibration of the Mother through the earth, bringing them hope. Download this for a minute longer. Download it to places that were expecting earthquakes, tsunamis, and whatever other troubles. We might disperse them all or some, but we know we're setting the intention. Perfect love and light of God. Let it go to people and let it move from their feet up to their tailbone and let the tailbone vibrate up to their crown. People all over the world, not knowing why or how, some sort of either vibration, energy, or even just a feeling of hope. It's enough. And we relax, and this sound becomes a blessing to all of God's children. Time is an illusion, so this reaches to the past, present, and future, to people in all dimensions, all lifestyles, everyone, anyone that's ever been locked away, hurt, not knowing why. There's hope. We're right here with you. People sitting around campfires with beautiful intention. There's hope. People crying at the loss of loved ones. There's hope. We understand the tears. Be held in our vibration of hope. Confused children. Hope. It's here. Hope not as in a little hope. It means it's inevitable that this will be gone. Here and now, that's not happening. The presence of God instead is what you feel. And you, whoever that person is, you're going to move in that direction now. Us, our children, our ancestors, everyone, everywhere. And so it is. Beautiful. Thank you. Just breathe and get reintegrated into your body. Take your time. Take your time. While you're still in that space, I don't want to shake you out of that space, but while you're there, what did you learn or hear that made the most sense for you today? Or what did you see or feel in the meditation? Can anyone share what can make a difference in your life or in lives of people around you? Yes? The cease reacting so you don't feed the fan anymore. When you feel, plug the fan and you feel the winds of it, metaphorically, of life, your karmas. Unplug it, let it burn off. Yes?
To research the negatives of your zodiac sign.
Nice. I like the practical, man. Just take a look at the lower aspects of your own sign. Stop being vague. I'm growing spiritually. Really? Let's look. If you're not past the lower aspects of your sign, I would think twice about, I'm ascending tomorrow. I would bet against it. I mean, come on. It's easy. What are the lowest aspects? And whatever they are. You can be one of those signs that doesn't like to have a clear direction. I get claustrophobic if I get too much direction. I like to just breathe free. That can be excessive sometimes. How can I be free but also have direction? That's balance. Find balance, if nothing else. That'll help. Anyone else? What did you hear? Yes?
I like what you said about the mountaintop and the analogy of the mind.
The mountaintop, the analogy, the meaning. So do me a favor. Say that again, but say it as though it's something you know is true. So we're sitting at the grocery store. You walk by me. Hey, how's it going? And what can you tell me today?
You are God.
That's it? I'm God? Tell me about the mountain.
If I were to be accurate.
Yep.
But basically, what is all that compared to almightiness of God? So if you're on top of a high mountain and you're saying praise God,
Yeah.
those are the highest words.
Yeah. So now you're able to speak this point, which is there's a mountain and it's the top that we want to go. So you can say that. You see what I mean by that? Say it as a truth statement. Now you're a teacher when you say it. If you say it as though you believe it, you're a teacher. Agreed? Yeah. See, if you say, Michael said, you're a parrot. That's it. You're just a parrot. You're just reciting what I said. I mean, that's kind of nice. You're like an academic student. You memorized something I said and you repeated it back. The left brain world likes that kind of behavior. I'm repeating what I was told, even though they wouldn't agree with spiritual concepts very often. But you make it you say it what you believe to be true. And if I said a sentence and you only agreed with 80% of it, that's the part you can say that's true. Okay? Then you're a teacher. And step into that, because that's an archetype that's up here, much higher than the nothingness down here. Who else? Yes?
Don't wait for someone else to set the tone.
Don't wait for other people to set the tone. You got to step into your life, See, if you try to change your life by simply forcing it on other people, you're reacting still. Because some people say that's how you become take control of your life. And it's all very anger oriented. Set the tone. That's different. See, I didn't say to my kids, I can't believe you kids are going to behave this way. You're stopping right now. That's setting the tone. But man, it was not a good tone. But when you say, hey, I have an idea. And my kids always knew, oh God, you know. They always knew that was not good. Because I would always put it in this positive frame. Hey, I have an idea. This is great. You're going to love it. From now on, don't even come to have lunch with me after a tour, you know, unless you're going to be nice to each other. You know, and it worked. They knew. Yeah. They knew. Get in the right space. And what would make you not want to get? Why would you not want to? It's obviously not God's voice that you're hearing or following when you resist that. Did someone else have their hand up? Yes?
Not settle into what kind of future I aim to be.
Say that again.
Not settling what kind of future I aim to be.
Not settling, but say it as though you're telling me in the aisle of Whole Foods. How do you say that as a sentence of the truth? We need to,
Not settle into the kind of future we aim to be.
we need to not settle for just role models, for example, right? That's the truth. Isn't it the truth? So is that right? You got that? Is that okay? Yeah, so that's the truth. And it is true, so share it.
Be yourself and don't try to be anybody else.
Be yourself, not anybody else.
When we were meditating and you kept using the word hope,
Yeah.
and obviously talking about the mountain and the energy,
Yeah.
there's like an anagram that came through of hope,
Yeah.
home in the heart offers effort, peace effortlessly.
Yeah.
Home offers peace
Yes.
effortlessly, so we know we're home.
That concept, yes, home, hope, that concept that there's hope. And now hope sounds little in some context, but it means everything. There's still hope. There's still hope. You know, there's an athlete that was dying from injuries, and the family was asked to come in, and he was done. He's going to be deceased by morning, so say your goodbyes. And they all said their goodbyes, you know, and they called in the chaplain or whatever, and he came in. And, you know, these are all just like really grunts. These are just grunt people. These are just dense people. But they called the chaplain for the gratuitous, you know, goodbye and go in God's hands or whatever. And this guy came in, man, and just, this is not the will of God. We command that you follow the will of God, that you be healed. Boom, 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 boom. And the dude, that minute, everything changed. Instead of, dee, you know, it's like beep, beep, like, you know. Oh my God, that's right, the will of God, man. And it doesn't mean everybody is resuscitated. But you know what? If I sat there and they didn't get resuscitated, I still heard the presence being commanded into my own being. How do you know those moments of come to life? How do you know they were for the dead guy? How do you know they weren't for you, the addict? You, the mom who was going through a divorce and not knowing if she could survive it. See things from a broader perspective. See things from a grand perspective. There's hope. God's voice speaks to me all through the day. Well, I haven't heard it once. Exactly. You have to be willing to hear it. How do you know it wasn't the person that paid your $3 extra at the checkout? How do you know it wasn't the person that let you in traffic-wise? How do you know it wasn't the song that, you know, sang out hope when you were feeling hopeless? And learning to be that presence is that our ultimate archetype, Christ presence. It doesn't mean be just like Jesus, the Christ that was in Jesus, be born in me as well, as Scripture says. The Christ that was in Jesus, be born in me as well. And it's going to look a little different to the musician or the mother or the dad or the kid or the sibling and so on. The roles I play, who cares? All the little roles, labels, should be melting away to where the greater is shining so brightly, there's no distinction. The guy that has to go or the girl that has to go shopping or go to her cappuccino place, whatever, you know, these things are, the person that goes there should be relatively the same as the one who kneels and prays. You should somewhat, those labels should all dissolve. This is a really nice person. This person's very inspiring, but yet not preachy. But people should be able to see that goodness through and through. we're going to take up our collection and do our closing prayer. Thank you for sharing your feedback from the service. I love our prayers, our closing prayers, but like it's divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies. I mean, it's an affirmation of prosperity. So together, please, divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. While they're passing those around, a couple of quick announcements. If there's a couple of topics you requested that I didn't get to, I apologize. You can try them again later. But a couple of quick announcements and then our closing prayer. So first, those of you who make donations, the regular donations go in the bags, the purple bags. But any extra donations go in the baskets. And those are for what we use for people of lesser means or sometimes special projects. But we do have our Christmas program coming up every year. The board members, what we do is we pull together some of our own funds that we might have together, and then we join it with any donations you can give. You can put those in the baskets or just give them to the office people, but specify Christmas donations. What we do is we put all those together. If it's a check that you write us, it's okay. We'll cash it and put cash in the envelope. But we take it during the holiday season and we go out and we share it with people that are struggling and with lesser means, okay? So please be generous as you can. You can even give gift cards to certain stores. We have the healing room here, the yurt with the crystal bed. If you haven't done that, you ought to check that out. It's quite powerful. And let's see, social media. Yes, you can join our Friends of Michael Mirdad Facebook group, but there's another one, the Daughters of Heaven Facebook group. Either of those, if you want, there's Zoom programs that we do live. If you're in either or both of those groups, you would then be invited to join our live Zoom program as well. It's time again. Today's the last of this year. Today's our devotional day. So whether you join us for 1 hour, which is our opening prayer, the second hour, which is our closing prayer, the next hour, which will be in about 45 minutes to an hour, whatever, half an hour, we'll do that. And then every hour, it's on the hour, and we share inspirational read, prayer, sometimes meditation, just depends what's happening in the moment. But we'll do that for 12 hours today, 10 to 10. And it's the last of this year. And lastly, we have a Christmas concert. So I'm reminding you, and admins, try to make sure we get that on my announcements, because I happen to just remember it. You don't want to rely on my memory. So Christmas concert, the 24th. So we'll have service. It's Sunday, the 24th. Christmas Eve is on the 24th. So we'll have our sacred service, Christmas Eve day, and then 2 hours after, like 2 to 4, we're having a concert. And we have several musicians we haven't had here before. Robin Miller, who's one of our regulars here, he works with a Christmas band. They do a lot of gigs doing Christmas shows. So we're having him and his friends, and we'll add another 1 or 2 people besides. But we have a lot of Christmas, and it's not like they're not going to do Rudolph, but they're doing the deeper kind of traditional, beautiful Christmas tunes and some very unexpected Christmas songs that are fantastic, deep, deep things. I mean, it's really, really magical. So join us for that. That's 2 to 4. It's only $20. Typically, concerts are going to be a lot more in Sedona or wherever. Well deserved for the musicians. But we're charging just $20. People can watch online for 10. Okay? And I believe that's it for announcements for now. So thank you. Please stand for our closing prayer. And I was quite serious when I said there's something happening very magical right now. A nice vision I had the other day of Mary calling us to the mountains, and I just saw this beautiful golden and blue lights on the mountain, and I won't go into the whole vision, but let yourself share something along those lines. Go somewhere or imagine being somewhere, and just ask, just open up. You know, the Divine Mother or Mother Mary, talk to me. You might see or feel. If you smell roses, that's really an obvious sign of her. But certain colors that she that accompany her when she's appearing, but feelings of bliss and compassion. You know, if nothing else, just allow peace to enter your heart and then share it with the rest of the world. I love our closing prayer. We're going to share that, but remember, as we're doing it, for people who have never been here or watching online that have never watched, you know, notice how we say this. You know, the light of God surrounds us, and we are the light of God. We affirm that that's our presence. That's not to be arrogant. It's the presence of God. We're calling it in right now. And we close with, and wherever we are, God is, I am, we are. Look how perfect that is. God, self, and others. It's downloading that presence. A sense of gratitude for each other, with each other. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.